Hey everybody, it's Jesse with the Loader Real Estate Group, and I'm here with another weekly real estate tip. So today I want to talk about pricing your home to sell. All right, so the first thing I'll mention is this is not a science, it's more of an art. So how do we do this? So, well, first of all, experience really does make a difference here. Once you've been in the business long enough and done enough deals, you start to understand what really determines value, okay? Yes, I know you got beautiful countertops and you got the extra long screws in your drywall and you put in air conditioning and you have a roof over your back deck. Like, all these little things are awesome and they might be really valuable to you when you live there. Not everything translates to resale value. So when we're looking at a home, the first thing we do is obviously we look at the area. Okay, and if we're gonna look, if you live in a house that was built in 2010, it's a 2-story with a double front attached garage. Okay, they're everywhere, right? And let's say it's in, Terwilliger, for example. All right, so now I'm gonna look in Terwilliger for houses that are 2 stories, within about a 400 square foot range with double front attached garages. That's where I'm gonna start, and then I'm gonna start narrowing it down. Okay, so where do we start? Well, I start with square footage. Square footage can make a massive difference on price, as much as $10,000 per 100 square foot difference, okay? So the difference between an 1,800 square foot and a 1,900 square foot home can be up to $10,000 if everything else is the same, okay? So we start with square footage, right? And then we look at things like location. I don't mean like location as to what neighborhood it's in. I mean, what kind of location is it in within the neighborhood? Are we backing on directly onto another house? Are we sharing a back fence? Do we back onto a walking trail? Do we back onto a pond? Do we back onto a green space? Do we have a pie-shaped lot? Are we on a corner? All these things make a difference in price. After that, then you start looking at things, like, for the most part, they all have 3 bedrooms and 2.5 baths, for example. Sometimes there are some slight differences, but for the most part, they're all gonna have the same sort of major features. Then you start getting into the things like, well, okay, it's built in 2010. Does it look very dated or does it look really modern? Does it have granite and hardwood and ceramic tile, or does it have carpet and lino and laminate countertops, right? Those do eventually make a difference in price, but they're pretty far down the list as to what you're doing to determine value. Now, those can make a massive impact on how your house looks and the showability of your house, but it doesn't always translate into real value in your pocket. Okay, so like I said, pricing a home is not an exact science. It's definitely a bit of an art. So you really need somebody with experience and knows what determines value. Okay, and if you're sitting there thinking, man, you know what? Like, he just said AC doesn't provide value. Oh my God, I'm thinking about putting an AC. Yes, it does provide some value, but if it's going to cost you $4,000 to $6,000 to put it in, is your house worth $4,000 to $6,000 more? No, it's not. It might give you the edge over the neighbor, right? And it might make that buyer choose your house over that one, but it doesn't really provide value. So another service that we provide that relates to this is maybe you're not thinking about selling anytime soon. No problem. Maybe you're 2, 3, 5 years down the road. Maybe your house is getting to that stage where you need to do some rentals, you need to start fixing some things up. We're more than happy to come in there and give you the realtor's resale value perspective on what you should renovate and what you should leave alone. Okay, because if you're gonna go and sink, I don't know, $9,000 to redo your siding because the color's a bit off, but there's really nothing wrong with that. Yeah, maybe you should leave that one alone. You're not gonna get $9,000 value back out of it. For the most part, you're gonna get like 75 to 80 cents on the dollar for most smaller renovations. Even basement development, it's gonna cost you 25 or 30 grand to develop your basement. Well, your home is now worth 25 or 30 grand more if you're lucky. Okay, so you need to be really careful on what you decide to do and be very selective on what you choose not to do. So pricing a home, not an exact science. Find somebody with experience and find somebody who's willing to give you really great advice. And most importantly, find somebody who's not going to give you the highest price because that's what you want to hear. All right? As always, if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up anytime. Have a good weekend.